Welcome back to the class, everyone. We are in the final week of this season of 5v5, and honestly, things have not been looking too hot. We've only won 2 this month, which, you know, with them being smaller is kind of acceptable, but at the same time, we're going to be coming at the season at a negative if we don't win all 3 of these this round, so we need to do really well against Mr. Prod Boy here. So before we get into the match, as always, we're going to go ahead and pull up what his overall roster looks like by bringing this up. And this is the first time this has happened in months. It's been a long time, but someone who has a risk rating that is currently lower than ours, which is huge. And it also means that he's probably a really stinking good player if he was able to get up this high in the rankings while having that. So he is actually in the same position as far as Galactic Legends go. We're both missing Ray, and he's probably very accustomed to fighting people who have Ray, given, you know, if you look at the rest of our opponents here. We are the only 2 without it, so we're on equal terms there. We have him just barely beat as far as Omicrons go. We have the first order one, and he does not. And then we have a good advantage in mods, too. This is really nice. I think this is really what's going to, if anything really helps us, is going to be this. Like, we have almost double the amount of plus 25s he has. We have about 40 more of the plus 20s, and, you know, 60 more plus 15s. These are good margins to have. So definitely happy about that. He does, of course, have us beating relic levels by 78, so that is good for him. That is a way that he kind of gets the advantage back. But I trust these ratings and the fact that we do have the material advantage. So we need to make sure we win. He does have some tricky teams that we're going to be looking into how to beat them. And I think we'll be okay. Oh, and he started. Huh. He got a 69. Nice. And against our Starkiller team, I'm guessing, if I had to guess, I'm guessing that was Grievous. But he actually did the Starkiller team down as well. Oh, so yeah, my defense is pretty much the same as it always. Teams that try to call it Galactic Legends. My weaker team's up top with all of our Galactic Legends in the bottom wall. So really trying to get everything drug out in that bottom wall, so that once he gets to this, he just can't get through. We'll see if it happens. Like I said, he's a pretty good player, so the chances of him dropping non-Galactic Legends here, I don't really know how high that is. That being said, on the back wall, or on his front wall, he has Starkiller, and he has it down with the debuff Datacron, which this does worry me a little bit, because it's just he's gonna be consistently landing things that our team wouldn't be the one that he just cleared, in fact. But the rest of this is pretty bad. JTR with BB-8, I think we'll still be able to use our Qui-Gon Jinn team. Honestly, do we have Dash for offense? Dash actually would work really well against that too. We might. I'm trying to remember if I pulled him or Bam. I think we pulled Dash. We might do that. Geos, I actually don't know what I'm going to use. Typically, I use Vader there, like OG Vader. It's been a long time since I've seen Geos. And then, you know, this is just going to be Bad Batch, as always. So that's pretty cool. And then his top wall, that is where things start to get slightly more complicated. Pretty much singling out this team right here. And this is a very expensive team. I don't really like it, but at the same time, the JMO is just fast enough so that where mine doesn't go first. And that really kind of messes with the counter. So I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what we have for that. But it could be tricky. We might end up using CLS and go for a 2-shot. But I don't know if this guy's going to give me enough wiggle room to be able to do the 2-shot. So we'll see soon enough. But that being said, let's go ahead and whack him. And here come the battles. So we're going in, starting off with Starkiller, or rather Grievous versus Starkiller. And this one is a little bit weary because they do have the Datacron where they get more and more cooldown reductions per whatchamacallits. Luckily, Newt decides to die this time. So they get very, 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 very close to just completely looping us. Newt dies. Grievous is able to push back turn meter. B2 is able to follow with that because it was not looking good because they had got all the debuffs on everyone. We start going immediately after Mar. We go ahead and use the AoE with Magnus so that we can hit everyone's target lock and get more turn meter and also push back turn meter on the dark side units. Go all on Mar, and then I want to get Visas out of here because if Visa brings Mara back and Mara's cooldowns are going to be gone because of the Datacron, then we're just screwed. So this isn't really risky, but just to make sure that everything goes the way we want it to, we go ahead and increase the cooldowns on Visas. You can do that without them actually having Extortion. You don't need to have that on first because we had Extortion on Mara. Now we go ahead and we get Visas out of here too. This is going really well. We aim for Palp just because he's kind of the squishiest of the characters right now. He's one more that I can get out and take control of the field. Palp does get down. He does get out of there. And now, I mean, this is game. Take out Star Killer next, just so, you know, we don't kill Ben, and Ben gives his bonuses to Star Killer. Yeah. Very, one of GG's better wins, a full 71 against the Datacron too, and we didn't have one of our own. So this is a standard Qui-Gon Jinn team. There's really nothing to write home about here. We don't get the stuns on everyone we need to. You know, Qui-Gon and Mace would have been fine as well. We do kind of, this probably wasn't the best idea, but we try to save the other stun for the following turn, because Qui-Gon, or Jedi Anakin stun, so we can probably tank a little bit here. We do drop Mace below, that puts Qui-Gon up, so now we have to be very careful what we do. We need to make sure that we don't accidentally trigger Jedi Anakin, so we're using basics on Jedi Anakin. We get potency up over to Wrecker. We now do the 2-turn stun, and actually, so I think we were correct to save that, because now, yeah, that AoE though probably wasn't the best idea. Actually, I don't know if it would have mattered, because I think we're gonna deal true damage no matter what. So this is just kind of a little bit of the luck of the draw, but I mean, it's still a very convincing win. Still got him down 58 for a efficiency battle. Not great, but still one shot. We go ahead and take out their JTR team next. We have dash for offense, so this is pretty cool. He really just slaughters JTR, especially with the bros there to cleanse, number one, to cleanse everything, but also to have more AoE so they can hit Vandor. So, I mean, you guys can see we're tackling this team very easily. Although that being said, you know, this is our first opponent in a very long time that doesn't have a full Relic JTR squad. You can see BB-8 there is only R2. We do try to stun him just so he doesn't, you know, counter and gain foresight and do all that stuff. It doesn't work the first time, doesn't work the second time, but eventually he just does die, which is nice. Well, at least nice for us. But yeah, I love this team because even in hairier situations, the JTR team just doesn't quite have the AoEs or really the correct AI to be able to take out Vandor, even, you know, with our Vandor being over there at gear 12. Trying to look to see if there's anything to get protection back, and there really wasn't, but, you know, that's fine. We go ahead and we take our win here for 62. So now we're gonna go ahead and take Geos out, and I haven't fought Geos in a really long time. So I was a little confused as to what to use against them, because I used to use OG Vader, but now OG Vader's off playing with Lord Vader. So we bring in this really silly team. The reason why I have Zalbar and Gideon there is just because these are fully Relic Geos pretty much against my Gear 12 Triumphant, and I know Relic Spy can just whack Scion right off the board. So, you know, we go in, we isolate, we push everything back in Gideon. I mean, Gideon makes a huge difference here. Not only nixing their offense, but also their crit chance. Spy is just a shell of who he's supposed to be, at least at the Relic levels. And then we take Zalbar in there as an extra precaution, just to make sure that we don't get, if they do kill Scion, we have a backup. So we get everyone out there, and we don't go for the Annihilate now. We go for the cooldown increase, because I'm really afraid that Geospy is just going to one-shot my Scion, and while that isn't the end of the world, it is less banners. So we do increase Geo's cooldown so he doesn't have his big hit ready. And now the name of the game is just, you know, kind of kill everyone else. So Geo now gets his big hit, but there weren't any debuffs to dispel on Scion, nor Scion even had his Hell by Hatred, so even if he did kill him here, we'd get him back. So we're just trying to make sure that we get full health back on every single character here now, and well, at least all the ones we can. So we get a 63, and that was actually really good. Traya versus that team doesn't usually work, or doesn't usually be high banners, I mean. So this is impressive. So we've taken our CLS versus their JML team. Shoot Watt first so we don't get the tech out. This is important. We aim the Jedi Knight Luke, swap stances. That way he has tenacity down, and that completely counteracts Bastila's protection up that creates tenacity. So then we're able to drop his turn meter so he doesn't stun everyone and get Jedi's will out on him and Jedi Master Luke or whoever. And once he's dead, we kill Bastila. Chewbacca does get dazed, and typically, in all the fights that I've watched for this, Chewbacca dies, so that's not the end of the world. I do want to make sure to take out Hoda out. He's really annoying if you let him live. I would much rather him just be dead, and then we don't have to worry about Jedi Master Luke himself. The battle prolongs long enough that Chewbacca actually snaps out of daze, and we're able to call him to assist a few times, and now he's going to heal himself all the way back up as long as Jedi Master Luke doesn't take a turn. And we just have so much turn meter removal from CLS and Han as well. They both remove turn meter on basic, and then CLS also has this big hit. And once we get translation going, we're able to pretty much loop back through that, and we're able to get full banners full banners against the stupid Bastila JML Watt team, just using our CLS. Granted, our CLS is, you know, R8, and that helped to kill everyone in the very beginning, but still, like, 65, that felt good. We do have to beat his Lord Vader now, and his Lord Vader does have the Datacron for the cooldowns whenever they get debuffs as well. There's no Maul there, so I'm not that worried, and they actually, the enemy AI plays this really well, so to speak, where their Vader actually uses the Coin Blade on Daka, who has multiple debuffs. So typically this would be really, really scary, but we played this safe. We brought in crew, even though they didn't have Maul, and typically crew is only really needed if they're going to throw Maul in there, because you need one person to take Thrawn and one person to take Maul, or one taunt for each, rather. And we lose them there in the beginning, so that's not great. We are able to spread the stuns around, and we're able to siphon the right characters at the right time. So we're doing pretty well as far as survivability goes. Like I said, they don't have Maul to really get in there. And that also kind of helps that I think Grand Moff Tarkin reduced our turn meter twice, which just ends up making our SLKR even tankier. Vader's Merciless strikes again. He ends up getting out our crew, but by this point, we've already got our first ult, and we're probably looking at having both Vader and Thrawn dead by the time we get even out. So now it's just our SLKR versus Lord Vader, essentially. And we've had our health increased once, and we already have a lot of our mastery built, not to mention the shield tech is cleansing the healing immunity constantly. So we still, even with the beginning of the battle not really going our way as far as banners go, we still have the upper hand. And because they have, you know, a bunch of health steal, Lord Vader gets back to full 100% health and just dies. So, I mean, not super happy with the banners, but that was really, I don't know, I think it is just bad RNG if Vader gets a Coin Blade in your Daka, because the Vader AI is not that smart. That really only happens by accident, but obviously not the end of the world. So we're going to take in our Iden versus their Mon Mothma. This Mon Mothma does have several Gear 12 on it, which is why it's dying super quickly, because at the end of the day, they share stats. So, you know, when you have multiple Gear 12, they die really quickly. Strategy the same there as always. Kill Kyle Katarn, kill Kara. Try to leave the other two as long as you can so they can facilitate the turn meter. We go ahead and take in our Bounty Hunters versus Dash now. This is a pretty simple battle. Again, when they only have one damage dealer in there and you can annihilate him, that's pretty much game. We do make sure to go after L3 immediately with our mass attack. That was very important because she will gain turn meter, and she can kind of mess things up for the Dash team when she's able to crit. She gains turn meter and whatnot, but obviously we were able to get our ult immediately, even with our undergeared Bounty Hunters here. It does get a little hairy, and for a split second here, I forgot that he had the Dash Omicron, so Vandor is constantly prepared, and because he's constantly prepared, L3 is just going to be coming back and back and back, which is honestly fine. We have a Disintegrate, but basically this just means we can't really lollygag with this. We have to move rather quickly. So we get Vandor down to the red, but you know, he gains all his protection back, so we keep hitting his allies. It's okay. Like I said, there's nothing really to stop us from getting all the way back to another Mando Disintegrate. And then once Mando disintegrates Vandor, because, you know, he can ignore taunt and whatnot, the rest of the team is just going to fall apart. So we do exactly that. Getting shock and stun on Bosk is actually really terrible. It stops Frenzy. It stops him healing. It's overall just not good. And we do start to sneak in some hits at Queel over there now. Don't get super far just because pretty much the only one who can actually hit him is our Gear 12 Mando. We do stop hitting him as well for a second here just because I want to keep critting, because I want to get Mando's his cooldowns to go down. I also want, you know, everyone else on our team to get more turns because that gives turn meter. We do manage to get the shock off of our boss via Grief, which is nice. We go ahead and annihilate their Queel real quickly, and then, you know, L3 and IG follow right after. So pretty consistent win, our typical 65 there. So because we were ballsy or brave enough to use CLS versus JML, we now have our own JML. Like, we have all of our Jedi left over to go ahead against whatever, and we just kind of on a whim go against his bounty hunters and just kind of for fun use Jedi Knight Luke lead. This really doesn't matter by this point. I didn't expect to have this much firepower left over. It honestly felt kind of weird, but that was really cool to watch. Jedi Master Luke just stomping everyone to the ground. I've always liked Grandmaster Yoda. I like him in a lot of teams, but I like him especially with Jedi Knight Luke because he just loops through teams so quickly. So we do that, and now we still have to beat the Maul team with Bam in it. Taking Jedi Knight Revan, and, you know, we have a lot of damage on here. We've taken Shock to be able to remove the Retribution so he doesn't counter, and then Maul's dead on the first assist. So this is a really easy battle. The Droideka, for anyone who's wondering, I think we might have shown this in the beginning, is very, very, very slow. So his presence there was essentially irrelevant. We do go ahead and dispel his damage immunity. We get rid of the daze now. Droideka dodges, as he does. That's kind of what the Zeta's for, but he's still dead before he gets his big hit off. And even if he got it, we still had Savior revives. That wasn't going to change the outcome here. But yeah, kill Canderous and then kill Bo-Katan with 64. So pretty decent across the board here. The Iden he left in the back had a TIE Fighter pilot, which stops Wampa pretty hard, but at the same time, it also makes every other counter in the world much easier. So we're able to take in our troopers. We just smash right through Iden. She doesn't get to revive because, again, when you put TIE Fighter pilot in there, it stops multiple things that her kit does. We then go ahead and throw daze on them, and then, I mean, that's what happened. 65, very, very easy. So he set a pretty difficult fleet defense. He set similar to what we set: Empire, Negotiator, and Executor. So we go ahead and immediately take in our Malevolence. Playing this the same as always, go right after TIE Bomber. He becomes very, very difficult to kill if the shuttle gets out. So, you know, Prototype comes in, that's fine. He always does that. They're going after characters. Again, this is very normal. We're able to get in quite a few hits onto their bomber immediately. I want to get him out of there. He looks like he's about to die from Buzz Droid, so we go ahead and mark the other bomber, get a cheap shot in on our Vader, kill him, kill their other bomber, and now this is looking really, really good. They're down 2. We're really not down any characters yet, but it looks like our Hyena is getting very close to dying there. However, this is always typically how this counter works. Because of the cooldown or decrease or whatever, Thrawn is going to get his ultimate. He's going to annihilate Hyena. We're going to bring in Soldier, and we're going to win for really bad banners. It's how it works every single time. We take out their Prototype, which that was cute. We go ahead and go all in on their bomber just because Shuttle's going to be hard to kill. Exactly what I said. They kill Hyena with the ult. We bring in Soldier, and then we kill their shuttle really easily. So now, this battle sketch, we take in Finalizer versus Negotiator, and this is really, really difficult because their Ahsoka is faster than our Special Forces TIE pilots. That's not good because that means if she hits someone else that isn't Shuttle, she's going to give the Shuttle turn meter, and then it's going to throw off our entire thing. She doesn't do that. She hits Shuttle. So we got wildly, wildly good RNG on the opening because she didn't give turn meter Shuttle. He can now remove the taunt, and because the taunt isn't there, Jedi Anakin can come in, and he can push out the revive or the unending loyalty or whatever you want to call it with Jedi Anakin. We now bring in our whatchamacallit to give turn meter and to remove everything. Almost got a heart attack from Jedi Anakin surviving. Luckily, we had the AoE left over. We killed Jedi Anakin, so even if we lose now, we still have a slight chance at cleaning this up with the Jedi Anakin out of there. We're able to immediately take out Plo. We do not get dazed on our Jedi Anakin, so this is looking really, really good now. Now it looks like our silencer is just going to control the field, which he does essentially. They're able to bring in their 5s, but now like they're all onto their tanks and their utility characters. We at the very end here go ahead and bring in Echelon, just, you know, secure things, I guess. They get crit immunity on 5s, which I don't love that. It makes things take way longer than they should, but it ultimately it doesn't matter. He's definitely gonna die, crit immunity or no crit immunity, which he does. So now we're up against the Executor, and we're gonna go ahead and take in our burner fleet. It is an R9 Executor, and he has the triple attacker lineup, so this is pretty good at stopping the mirror. However, it doesn't hold up too well against Rebels or even our two-shot method because it typically allows us to get the perfect burner. However, and this is really yet to happen to me to its fullest extent, but we get in, they split their hits pretty evenly, you know, we get our defense penetration up, and Xanadu Blood comes out. We have like 2 really key moments here to get an assist from the Millennium Falcon, and we don't get either of them, so this is pretty much a game. Their Xanadu Blood is still alive. They get breach out, but they don't put enough debuffs out, at least immediately, to be able to rip it off. We have 2 opportunities for the Millennium Falcon to rip off the taunt. He does not. We have to bring in Cassian instead of Phoenix, which doesn't allow us to control the field. So this is and again, the Millennium Falcon doesn't assist. I didn't count how many times the Millennium Falcon could have assisted and didn't, but it was very, very high this match. And especially in very, very crucial moments where like one would have just been fine. But yeah, so like I said, we weren't able to bring in Phoenix. We're not able to bring in multiple stuff back to back. They have Breach on us here still, so we can't get through the Hyena taunt to be able to get to IG. And yeah, it's just not a lot's going to work here. We do take in Wedge to try to get the buff immunity. Maybe the Millennium Falcon can assist now. He'll rip it off. He doesn't again. Just kind of turn after turn after turn there. And then now, again, our whatchamacallit stalls Breach. We just do basic for, you know, turn meter to shake out Breach faster. Doesn't really matter. Finally get it off. We have to hit Slave 1. I mean, yeah, this battle has been, it's been gone for a minute now. So though, they do end up taking out our Millennium Falcon. We do not clear the Executor. But as you can clearly see now, we do win the battle. Our opponent struggled pretty heavily on ground. You can see he didn't even get to our fleet. I don't know if he would have been able to clear fleet if he got back there, but he dropped a battle on Maul. I'm not 100% certain, but I think he might have dropped a Geos somewhere here. But I went back and I was like looking over his roster. He just didn't have a combo, at least in my knowledge, for what he was taking on offense to be both Lord Vader and JMK. He leaves Watt on defense, so SLKR is in a counter. He left Thrawn on defense as well, so he can't use the C counter on JMK. So really the only thing that could be either of these was going to be JMK. And then on top of that, he had to worry about C being there as well. He actually failed on all of my B teams too. Not all of them, but you know, Hux, Mon Mothma, and JTR multiple times. So pretty sound win. We didn't beat him on fleet, but he definitely didn't beat us on fleet either. So pretty good match. I'm satisfied with it. Really, really cool to see CLS kill an older version of himself, but yeah, it's not too uncommon. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and as always, stay awesome.